When you have a vision or you have an end result that you want to achieve, there are going to be obstacles. And it's really going to help when life puts pressure on you determine how serious were you about that vision. If someone was to ask the person closest to you what your plans are for the future, could the person close to you clearly explain it to someone else? If not, you may need to work on your vision. Hi, I'm Barika from Simply Unique Coaching, and today we're going to talk about the importance of having vision. Actually, when it comes to vision, we're looking at the direction we plan on heading in the future. And anyone that you encounter who happens to be successful, I guarantee you they had a vision for their life or a vision for what you're currently seeing as a success for them. Now, of course, there are a couple of times when people can fumble upon success, and that does happen. However, when it comes to the majority of people and the majority of success stories, there was a vision that the person had. And sometimes life can happen, but at the end of the day, they continued, they pushed through all of the obstacles and they saw it out into the end. And that is what made them successful, was having that vision of seeing where they wanted to go and then being persistent no matter what the obstacles are to ensure that they reach that goal. And I can tell you, as a person who's had several visions come to pass, even the vision that you're seeing right now, this is coming to pass with the exception of me being on social media because I'm such a private person. But as far as me having a business, it being an online business and it being something where I can have flexibility, like I'm in another country right now. I love traveling. That's always been a vision since I was a kid. I was able to travel from a young age. And so my goal was always to work and be able to travel, right? And I actually had a chance to work overseas for several years. I'm actually working overseas now as well. But it was a part of my vision from when I was younger, right? So whenever we have those visions in our head, we are visualizing the future in the now. Like, so we're here right now, but we're saying, okay, where is it that I want to be? And there has to be clarity. There has to be clearness in it. There can't be fuzziness. You have to have a surety that you know, that you know, that you know. Now, what may be unclear is how exactly you're going to get there, how you're going to arrive. And that's okay. But I can tell you, as a person who's had several things, like when I was in high school, I was like, I want to go to college and I'm not going to pay for it. Right. And so literally I was able, because that was my internal vision, I received 2 scholarships, 3 scholarships. I didn't apply for any of them. I received 3 scholarships, and one was like a full ride. Like, I didn't apply for any of them. Okay. Part of my vision was, hey, I want to have these goals. I want to go to college and I don't want to pay for it. And literally, I've been through 3 different college programs and I've completed them all. I like to say that. And I haven't paid for any of them because they were part of my goals. So whether it was like I got scholarships, whether it was a paid program where another entity paid for it, or whether it was a situation where I got a pay raise that ended up covering my tuition. So when you have a clear vision inside your head, it's going to come to pass. It will come to pass. And now the method and the methodology of how you're going to get there, you may not know. But it's going to be important for you to determine what is it that you have in your heart, because that is going to be a lot of times the things that are going to lead you to that success. Okay. So you have to clearly define them. If you're not sure where you're going and how you're going to get there, the method of getting there is not almost as important as to actually having the clear vision. Okay. And another reason why having vision is important, I talked about this just a little bit earlier, but like when life is lifing, when life throws obstacles our way, that is what will cause us to continue to move forward. It's going to cause us to push through the tough parts, because especially when you have a vision or you have an end result that you want to achieve, there are going to be obstacles. And it's really going to help when life puts pressure on you determine how serious were you about that vision? How serious were you about attaining success? And people who quit, people who stop, and a lot of times when people decide to quit, they were like so close, they might have reached that goal or that vision the very next day had they continued. So if you stop, you won't ever get there. I was literally on a conference call earlier today where this gentleman was talking about how right now he's doing some super amazing things, and he's changing so many lives for the better. And I'm so excited, and I'm excited for him. And he just has a heart for people. But he was sharing with the group, he said, I almost quit. I almost didn't do this. He said, what would have happened if I would have stopped when he got discouraged? And now he's positively impacting the lives of thousands of people on a daily basis, right? So I'm just saying, like, life will happen. And we have to determine how we are going to handle it. We have to dig our heels in sometimes, and we have to say within ourselves that I am not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let go. It's going to be when it's your vision, it's always on the inside of you. And how do you know if it's a real vision? It's going to come out of your mouth. And then sometimes you actually have to protect the vision because everybody's not ready for your vision. Everybody's not going to be on the same page as you. Everybody's not going to be, oh, you can do it. And, a cheerleader and all of that. Just, some people, they just like to, like we say, throw salt, on, they just will throw salt and they'll just try to tear you down and try to make you feel bad. And you just have to be determined enough inside of yourself that, listen, I'm going to share it with whoever I'm going to share it with. And honestly, people who are negative like that, some may say they're trying to keep you realistic or they're trying to keep you grounded. Those are typically people who haven't really done much because life is risky. Life takes risk. And I'm not saying like go do something really wild and crazy, like go, I'm not even going to say examples. But what I am saying is like there is no reward if there is no risk. Everything takes some type of risk. It takes getting out of your comfort zone. It takes you saying, okay, you know what? I've had enough of this mediocrity and staying in the rigmarole. I'm thinking now the movie The Matrix, when everybody was going, Keanu Reeves, he was working at the desk and doing these mundane things, and he didn't know that all this greatness was on the inside of him until, towards the end of the movie when he realized, oh, okay, I don't have to run from these things. These things are going to run from me. Anyway, that is a whole nother thing. Yes, I love The Matrix. Okay, so now you may be wondering, well, Barika, I don't know what my vision is. I don't know what direction I'm heading in. I feel like I'm like floundering and flipping and flopping. And then also with a lot of the stuff going on in the world, maybe you're like, oh, I had a vision, but my vision may need to change based off of, circumstances or situations. But here's the thing. When it's a true vision, a lot of times it's going to have to deal with your passion, and your passions typically are things that are innately in you. They're really your contribution to the world. It's really how you can help make the world a better place. So it's going to be something that you're very passionate about, something that you can't get out of your mind, something that you might be stuffing down and stuffing down. And I'm going to say this, even if you're making a lot of money, if you're miserable, you're not in your passion, you're not in your vision. So I know I was listening to something the other day where the gentleman was saying, people can do a job, but that doesn't equal their work. And that your work is actually, your purpose and your passion and your vision. It feeds into that. But you're going to find that typically from something when you were younger, it's not going to change. So if you love taking care of animals when you were a kid, you're probably going to love taking care of animals as an adult. Like you might push it down. Maybe you didn't go to vet school. Maybe you decided to work, as a construction supervisor or as a office manager or something like that. But you're still going to find that you're going to be led back to helping animals and that kind of thing. So a lot of times, again, it won't ever go away. It's always going to be in the back of your mind and your heart. And if you don't do something to work towards it, you're going to not feel fulfilled, is the word. You're not going to feel fulfilled. So last week on social media, I was encouraging people to create a vision board. So if you don't have one, here is your challenge. Consider yourself challenged to get a vision board together and to place it somewhere where you can see it frequently. And I actually started a Facebook accountability group. It's free to join, just to anybody who is really interested in making their goals this year. I am going to be pushing and hammering goals this year, and not just goals that are like, okay, I'm going to write it down and then just, 3 months later, 6 months later, I'm just like so far off or, it's somewhere in the back. No, if you want to be held accountable, join this group. We already have several people inside of the group. And what I want to do is make sure that it is there for people who actually want to achieve goals. So if you're hemming and hawing, talking to you. If you're hemming and hawing, I'm talking to you. Or if you just want to join a group of people who are focused on achieving their goals, then go ahead and join us. I would love to have you in the group. And this is a group of no drama. I don't tolerate drama. I don't put up with drama. No, 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 no. So this is going to be a group for serious people who are wanting to meet their goals and to be able to be held accountable for meeting them. With that being said, make it a great day. Take care. Bye.